just do a quick check or a quiz. It's less than 10 problems, but it will deal with multiplying and dividing with decimals. So let's do a few practice rounds on the whiteboards before I set you onto Khan. We'll do a few on the whiteboard, so please grab your whiteboards or paper and pencil, whatever works best for you. And if you are already comfortable, yeah, I see people. Oh, Anthony, you can't. Oh, you're going to log off Zoom? Then Anthony, why don't you go ahead and do your Khan Academy then? If you're going to be logging off, you can work on that. All right, I am stopping the chat. So we can do a few practice rounds, practice problems again on your whiteboards. That's the best way that I know how to practice at this point. And then I'm assigning you 9 problems on Khan Academy. Actually, they've already been assigned. So, but if you need some extra practice, we're just going to review for 3 or 4 problems. We'll start off with multiplication, and we'll start off with 3.21 times 7.8. There you go, 3.21 times 7.8. We have some decimals. We'll practice some multiplication and division some more today, and then I will set you on Khan for about 15 minutes.
Mr. Mullen, can you make me host, please, instead of co-host?
Did I do that? Okay.
It's because you were the first one in there, but just click on me in the participants. Somebody needs to get Mr. Hartman some help today.
No, Mr. Mullen has always been my hero.
You're now host.
Thank you.
I'm working on my screen, like I can't see, I can just hear him, so just like with the mouth full, I'm like, yeah, you're host now, you're good, you're good.
Goodness. All right, folks. Hey, when you're done with it, go ahead and hold up that whiteboard. I see that Raya is already finished. Yep, that's the drill. Zachariah is finished too. And again, just to review, multiplying with decimals. Sounds like Fun Friday at school too. All right. I'm just going to wait about another 30 seconds or so. Mason, you look real comfortable there, buddy. Why don't you sit up and put a little more, there you go. Oh, come on, you can do it. There you go, you're up. All right, he's up. Up and smiling, that's a great smile. Okay. And on the count of 3, I like to see what your answers are. Ready, 1, 2, 3, show me. It's a 5-digit answer. If you got 5 digits, you're probably going to be really darn close. Ooh, yes. Ooh, fantastic. 8 times 1, 8 times 2, 8 times 3, and plus 1 more. This is the part that a lot of kids forget, is that placeholder right there. You're finished with the ones place, and you have to bring it down as a placeholder. There it is. And then you have 7. 7 times 1, 7 times 2, and 7 times 3, plus 1 more. Gives you 25.038. Yes, that is your final answer. Ooh. There you go. And congratulations, kudos to those of you who got it correct. Let's do 1 more multiplication, and we'll do a couple division, and then I'm going to set you loose on Khan Academy. All right, here's the next one. Next multiplication with a decimal. As a nice little review here. We'll pick some different numbers. Let's see. Go with my birthday, 1223 times 0.9. Go for it. Oh yeah, this one didn't take quite as long. All right, on the count of 3, when you're ready. There it is. Yeah, I see more people ready. 1, 2, 3, show me. All right, multiplication times nines. Hey, if you are writing on paper, I love that you got the right answer, but I would suggest that you write small so you don't use one sheet of paper for one problem. Write small. You should be able to fit like 20 problems on one sheet of paper. So just write your nicest, neatest handwriting. Yes, there we have it, 1,107 Fantastic. Let's do a couple of division problems and then just for review before you get going on your quiz, I want you to get into it too. Okay, there it is. Sorry, I forgot to erase yesterday. All right, next division problem. Try this one. 350 divided by 4. Don't leave remainders. Make sure you answer with a decimal. Don't leave me a remainder. Give me a decimal answer. Oh, hi. That was unexpected. Okay. Thought someone was playing a joke on me there for a minute. All right.
Miss Bragg, you missed our coffee cart today.
I heard that. I saw that. I was like, man, it's fun Friday at school.
I said I should have drove by your house first.
Oh, well, I
Next
appreciate
time I
the
will.
thought.
I'll drop it on your front porch.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. I'll take it.
Hi, Ethan Inkman. Where's your smile, Ethan? Come on, we have 3 days off. There you go. Don't hide your face. I could see you. Hi, Emily Santos. Anya, look at all my favorite 6th graders. Aubrey, Isabella. Oh, Michaela, I miss you guys. Aaron, you look like you're really into this. Aaron Grimm, there you are.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to figure it out. Jacob, you're sleeping there. No laying down on the school day. All right, bye, you guys. Hi, Darrell.
Thanks for stopping by.
All right, bye.
Thank you.
All right, folks, when you are ready and done, show me the back of your whiteboard so I know you're ready to show your answers, share your answers. Thank you very much. Ooh, I see it. Okay, good. Thank you. And this review is for you before I set you loose on a quiz. So it's a good time to practice your multiplication and division. All right, 1, 2, 3, show me what you got. Show me what you got. Ooh, yes. Ooh, fantastic. I'm seeing lots of right answers. 4 goes into 35 8 times. I left this first digit blank over the 3. And then you have a 7. And here's where you have to add that decimal and a 0 in order to get a 5. 87.5. 87.5. I see good answers. Yes, Rosie, that's right. Give yourself that little Kaya. There you go. Round of applause. Pat on the back. And let's solve one more practice problem. Next question is, and do a little bit bigger problem. Ooh, that's too big. That's hard. Ooh, that's scary. I don't want that one. Ooh, yeah, I want this one. How about 54.18 divided by 6? 54 and 1800 divided by 6. All right. Aw. Oh, there we go. I'm seeing some backs of some whiteboards already. That's fantastic. I'm ready to rock and roll onto the next part here. All right, on the count of three, I wanna see ya. 1, 2, 3, show me. I'm looking for something very special here. A very special, yes, placeholder. Uh-oh, Remington forgot a placeholder. We have, oh, he's looking at me like, what? Yes, let me show you. 6 goes into 54 exactly 9 times. 6 does not go into 5. I left that one blank. The 6 goes into 54 9 times, which leaves you nothing left over. If you bring down the 1 and ask how many times does 6 go into 1, it does not. You have to put the 0 in. That 0 is a placeholder. Then when you bring down the 8, now you have 6 into 18, which goes 3 times. And of course, the most important part is don't forget your decimal. Don't forget your decimal. Now I'm going to put just a little part 2 to this question. I'm going to ask you the same question, except I'm going to put a decimal in front of the 6 and then put 54.18. And my new question is, if I have a decimal on the outside and a decimal on the inside, how does that change your answer? How does that change your answer? All right. I'm going to have you just solve this one. This was from yesterday's assignment, but at the end of the assignment yesterday, I put a decimal on the outside as well as a decimal on the inside. We'll see. We'll see if you can place the decimal. It's all about the decimal point. Because the division's still the same. 6 goes into 54. 6 doesn't go into 8, or into 1, but it goes into 18. All right, let's see. Chloe, either you're really hot or you are waving me down. I'm not sure which, but I like your ears. All right, let's see where you put the decimal point this time. Ready? 1, 2, 3, show me. Yeah. Ooh. All right. If you bring the decimal over to make 6 a whole number, that means you multiplied the outside number by 10 to move that decimal. And you would have to do the exact same thing on the inside, multiply by 10 to move that decimal. Then you bring your decimal all the way above the line. And now you're going to have 90.3. 90.3 for your answer. So the decimal moves. If you have dividing by a decimal number on the outside, you have to move the decimals. All right, Colin agrees. He's very excited about that. All right, hey folks, I do have 9 questions for you on Khan Academy. 9 questions. There's 5 multiplication and 4 division. I very much want you to do those questions right now. They are considered a quiz. It even says quiz on Khan Academy. So please take about 15 minutes right now. That will put us up till 9:10, up to 9:10. So we have from now until 9:10 to work on those 9 quiz questions, okay? 5 multiplication problems with decimals and 4 division problems with decimals. You have 15 minutes. Do it now. And I will open the chat to the hosts. And yes, you can work these out on your whiteboards. Plunk your answers in there to Khan Academy.
And we are going to talk about the endings today. So we're going to review a little bit about organization and then talk specifically about endings today. So joinpd.com, the code should be on the screen. IUACI is your code today. Right. Take about 30 more seconds. And we'll get this started. And as you're logging in, a couple of quick words while everybody is logging in. So someone asked the other day, what are we going to use this for? Like, what are we going to use writing for in life? And it's a good question, and it's an honest question. And I think writing is one of those things that if you know how to do competently, you don't even necessarily have to be really good at it, but there are going to be times in your life where you're going to have to write letters. We correspond all the time, whether it's text messages or emails, the language that we use, the precision of language, the precision that we should use. We need to be aware of those things. And if we're aware of those things, writing can be a dangerous thing, and it can be a beautiful thing. But you have to, when you are crafting anything, you have to be aware of what you're doing, why you're doing it, how you're doing it. It's it is very much a superpower when you stop and think about it. But you will use it all the time. Every job that I've ever had, now granted my degree was in journalism, but every job that I've ever had, it has really come from my ability to write, whether it's a resume or a cover letter. So when you go out and you start applying for jobs, you're going to have to write something called a cover letter. And a cover letter is basically a one-page letter telling a prospective employer, hey, this is who I am, this is what I'm about, this is what's important to me. And so you basically have 250 words to create an image, a two-dimensional image of yourself on this piece of paper and sell yourself to a prospective employer. So Fortune 500 magazine did a poll. This was a few years ago. I want to say it was probably about 10 years ago. But of the 5 most important things that they look for in an employee, I believe number 3 was writing. So like I said, obviously there's some jobs where you're not going to be doing that, but there are more jobs that require writing than you would think. So anyway, moving on. Let's review. So I have a question for you. Using paragraphs in a piece of writing helps us, sorry, typo there. You think I'd be a little carefuler. Geez, man, I'm making up words, typos. I'm on fire this morning. Using paragraphs in a piece of writing helps us, ignore the E, organize our thoughts. Would you say that that statement is true or false? So using paragraphs in a piece of writing. Using paragraphs in a piece of writing helps us organize our thoughts. True or false? 60 of us, 63, 65, 71, yes. The answer is yes. Using paragraphs in a piece of writing helps us organize our thoughts on 2 levels. So number one, excuse me, if we've done the work and we have identified a topic for each paragraph, it's going to make the structure of our essay or whatever we're writing much tighter, much more focused. And then the physical paragraph on the page does one of 2 things. It lets us know, okay, this paragraph is discussing this thing, this paragraph is discussing this thing. And then it also gives your reader a break. Just visually, just looking at the page, they're able to identify smaller units on that page, and they're just going to be much more likely to read there. So, yesterday and last week, we talked about the importance of organize our writing. So again, you want to organize your paragraphs by topic, and then you want to use those paragraphs in your essay. So when we organize by topic, like I said, we have this assemblage of random facts about rabbits. And then we did the work here. We identified these different categories. And then it's just a matter of, okay, well, in the first paragraph, I am going to talk about the habitat or where rabbits live. In the second paragraph, I'm going to talk about what rabbits eat. In the third paragraph, I'm going to talk about how they're classified, what types or what type of animal they are. And then in the final paragraph, or depending on how many paragraphs this is, I'm going to talk about their physical characteristics. Okay, so that is an important part of organizing. If you do this step here, you are going to eliminate a lot of issues with your writing, a lot of them, because most people, they don't struggle with putting sentences together, they just struggle with the organization. And then if we're not using paragraph, this is what we end up with. I just scan it and I'm like, I don't see many spelling errors, but I know it's just, you look at it on the page and it just looks overwhelming. So when you break your essay into actual physical paragraphs, it makes a difference. Like I said, it helps you organize your thoughts, and it just makes it much more readable for the reader. So getting in today's topic, I want to talk specifically about conclusions. So closing a piece of writing is one of the most challenging tasks for a writer. So it's kind of like what do I do with my hands? It's really the same thing when we talk about ending a piece of writing. So we have all of these great ideas. Each paragraph has its topic, and then we're sort of left with that puzzle. How do I tie this all together? So we're left with a very simple question, which is, how do I end my essay? And that's what we're going to talk about today. So there's a handful of strategies that we can use to do that, and I'm going to talk about just a couple of them today. So these are the ones that I want to cover just very quickly. There's 5 of them all together. We're not going to spend a lot of time on each. My goal today is just to sort of introduce these, and you can get an idea of, and you'll see some samples of how to end an essay. So the topic that we're going to be discussing is trash on the floor in the lunchroom. So when we are at West Palms and we're in the lunchroom together, y'all lose your minds. I have no idea what goes on. Like when I drop you guys off for lunch in there, I turn and run as fast as I can because I have no idea what's going on in there. There's trash on the floor. It's everywhere. And unfortunately, Mr. Vince, who already does a ton of stuff for our school, is left to clean that up. So it's one of those things that we try to stay on top of, but that's the topic that we're going to talk about today, and I'm going to give you some samples. So, summary of the main points: challenge, invitation, feelings, and further exploration. So everything in purple here is a strategy that you can use to end your essay. So we're just going to go through a couple of examples, and then I'm going to have you do some writing on your own. Summary of the main points. So if we're talking about trash on the floor in the lunchroom, and we have written our essay, so we have our introduction that has a hook and a thesis statement. We have 3 body paragraphs, each of which has its own topic. And here we are in paragraph number 5, the concluding paragraph. So we can say, now you can see why controlling trash in the lunchroom is important for everyone in our school. Now, obviously, I didn't list the main points from each paragraph because, you know, I don't have that essay here, but you can see it's general enough. You get the idea. So based on everything that I've said, and I don't necessarily need to repeat it because I've already mentioned those things in my essay, you've got a nice general statement that ties everything together. It summarizes everything that we've talked about in the essay. So now you can see why controlling trash in the lunchroom is important for everyone in our school. And scene. There's your summary of the main points for that particular essay. So that's one. And that's probably, I would say, one of the easier ones to do. It's kind of a, once you figure out how to do it, it's kind of a slam dunk. And then it's also good because it helps you, like, what are my main points? It forces you to ask that question and answer that question. So this is a good one. This is a good one to have handy, especially if you get stuck and you don't feel particularly creative. This is a good way to wrap things up. Challenge. So here's another one. Trash on the floor in the lunchroom. The next time you are in the lunchroom and are tempted not to pick up the napkin you dropped, or half a burrito, or vegetable sticks, or whatever it is that you're throwing on the floor or is on the floor, you know, think twice about who needs to clean that up. Because if you're not picking it up, Mr. Vince or somebody else in there is. So challenge somebody, you know, depending on what the topic of your essay is, you can issue a challenge. It's a really good one because it punches the reader right in the gut a little bit. Not in a not in a literal way, more of a metaphorical way, but you kind of like grabbing them by the shirt collar and saying, hey, like, try this instead. So that is another strategy that you can use to conclude your essay. Invitation. Here's another one. So we can invite our reader to do something or think a certain way. You have a choice. Will you choose the wrong way, or will you be a part of the effort to keep our lunchroom a place we can all be proud of? Very simple. So you're giving them an invitation. You're providing an invitation. Do you want to keep being a knucklehead and littering in the lunchroom and dirtying this place up and making us all look bad? Or are you going to do the right thing and make sure you clean up after yourself? So it's an invitation. And those of you who are really following along and thinking about this, you might notice a little bit of overlap between the challenge and the invitation, and that's okay. The main thing is you're asking a very pointed question to conclude your essay. So that's another strategy. Feelings. This is a good one because anybody can do this. Everybody has feelings. Not everybody is equipped with facts, which is why school is important. There's people love to generate a lot of heat, but not a lot of light. So don't be one of those people who are a big ball of flame with nothing to say. Make sure that you read and you learn and you dedicate yourself to not just learning, but making the world around you a better place. But feelings. It is my firm belief that we all have a responsibility to do our part to make all of our school, beginning with the lunchroom, a source of pride rather than shame, right? So the author here is stating the feelings. Hey, I want our lunchroom. If we have people coming to visit, parents, principals or teachers from other schools, whoever, other students, we want them to walk into that lunchroom, and we don't want them to see just looks like a nuclear bomb of macaroni and cheese went off in the center of the room. We want it to be, hey, this is, wow, this place it's neat, it's clean. I would want to go to school here, or I would want to teach here. So feelings is a good one. And feelings is great because, like I said, you don't really have to, it's great when you back it up with fact, but you don't necessarily have to, not for this particular one. And then the last one is further exploration. So what is further exploration? Let me just read the example and then we'll unpack that. If you would like to see the neatest lunchroom in the country, I would invite you to visit blank school. We may pound them in football, but they beat us in lunchroom cleanliness. So Mr. Mullen would probably be okay with that. Like, look, as long as we're winning in football, I don't care what our lunchroom looks like. And he would probably not be alone in that assessment. But the author of this particular conclusion is like, hey, this other school is doing it right. Like they have their act together, and it's a nice, clean place to eat and spend time. It's not this cacophonous cave of yelling and screaming and just nightmares for me. Okay. So I have a question for you. We covered all 5 of these strategies relatively quickly. And again, this is just meant to be an introduction. It's just meant to, and I will be posting this in Google Classroom, the presentation, so you can go back and refer to this whenever you need to. So we're going to be writing an essay here in the next week or so. So when we do that, you can go back and look at this presentation. And if you're in the middle of writing or you're at the end of your essay and you're, I don't know how to end this, you can go back into this presentation and go back and look and see which one of these do I want to use. So, which leads me to my question. Which one of these strategies are you most likely to try on your next essay? So I'm just curious here. So of the 5 that we reviewed, which one do you think you're most likely to try? Kind of intrigued by this question. So take about 15 seconds. Only have 53 of 100 people responding. Interesting. So which of these 5 would you be most likely to try? Okay. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2. Got a lot of people asleep at their computers right now. So let's see. Summary of the main points. Okay. Challenge. Invitation, feelings, further exploration. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, summary of the main points. Nothing wrong with it. It is a good way to, like I said, it's a good, true, and sound way to close your essay, and it forces you to ask some important questions about what you've written and why you've written it. So, excellent. Let's see here. So summary of the main challenge and feelings. Okay, cool, that helps. All right, so your turn. You are going to write a challenge conclusion about distance learning. So it's your turn to do a little bit of writing. So, challenge, making the most of distance learning. So let's say, for the sake of argument, that we have put together an essay about just making the most of distance learning. Obviously, we're not going to be able to point by point restate those things in our conclusion, but I want you to write a challenge conclusion that revolves around making the most of distance learning, okay? It is 9:41 according to my watch, which I need to charge, and I will give us I will give us 6 minutes, 6 minutes to write a challenge conclusion for making the most of distance learning, okay? So 6 minutes. So at 9:48, we will come back together. You are writing a challenge conclusion that revolves around making the most of distance learning. So you're challenging your reader to, hey, not ideal, but we need to make the most of distance learning, okay? So 6 minutes. Okay, have about 3 more minutes. Okay, another minute remaining. Okay, take about 30 seconds to finish up your thought. See where we're at here. Okay, about 78 of 105. This always makes me laugh. I always, there's what, like 130 people, and it seems like any given lesson, there's like 25 people who are just off in the ether somewhere. Makes me wonder what they're doing. Missing out on all of these wonderful writing lessons. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing here for just a moment. And so I wrote one here just real quick. So I said, while most students prefer being at school, distance learning offers many opportunities. Unlimited access to your refrigerator, your favorite blanket, and on a good day, an impressive array of snacks. Make the most of this situation while you can. So there is my challenge. Make the most of it while you can. You have access to all these things. Take advantage, right? Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment. And, oh, okay, that is interesting. My screen totally disappeared. Cool. I have no idea where my Pear Deck went. Google has been acting very, very strange lately. Okay. I think my session I think my session got ended. It did. Yay! I don't know what's going on with the Google, but it has not been. Okay, great. So all of those examples I was looking forward to reading are not here. Excellent. So, all right. Here's what we're gonna do. I hate to do this to you, but go ahead and go into joinpd.com again. I have no idea why that closed down. You're just going to do a quick 60-second version of what you did. It got erased. I apologize. I have no idea why it just vanished like that. So here is it still on? Yeah, I don't know why. It literally just disappeared. Really strange. Okay, the new code I'm going to share here for just a moment. Yeah, sorry guys, I have no idea why it did that. Oh, wait a second. Okay. Is this it? Ugh. All right. Sorry, guys. Yeah, we'll just end it there. We'll end it there for right now. I'll tell you what, if you have it, let's do this. I don't want that work. I don't want that work to be wasted. So let's do this. Go ahead and cut and paste those and put them in the chat. I want to see what you guys came up with. So let's cut and paste, and we'll put it in the chat. I want to see it. So if you have one that you're good with. Okay, well, now you know. Whoa, okay, cool. Maybe next time when you want to skip out on online school, remember, it might not be ideal, but you should make the most of it. Good, Dylan, good. So even where you're far away, distance learning can still be fun, but not as social. Good, Mason. Distance learning is very difficult for a lot of students. You might not think it sounds easy being at home all day, every day. Imagine having to sit down in a chair all day, well, I'm losing, and trying to learn. If you think this is easy, try to do an online course over the weekend. Good, Kira, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Distance learning, something I hate but love. The hatred of having so much homework, but love being safe. I do like making the most of it since I can't see some of my friends, but have a couch or bed waiting for me. Nice. Guys, these are fantastic. These are great. I'm just having a hard time keeping up. We all know that quarantine is a struggle, right? We have been stuck in our houses and distance learning. Distance learning can be hard because Zoom can be really laggy, or whatever app you use to connect with your class, but we can get through it together. It will be over one day and we will be back in action at school, learning regularly. Beautiful, beautiful. Man, you guys are killing it. Killing it, killing it. Distance learning isn't that great, but we have to do it because of the COVID-19, so we can't go to school. Would you rather go to school and maybe get COVID-19, stay distance learning and not possibly get sick? Good, Natalia, different take for sure. Good, good. Distance learning is a challenge, but we can all get there though by trying new things, hang out with your family or make stuff. Okay, good. Distance learning is not so bad, but it does keep you safe. Okay, good. So after all I've told you about distance learning practices, what do you think? You think it's fun? We have snacks and everything. Access to beds too. Well, I'm going to challenge you. If you can go 5 minutes without something going wrong in the chat or Zoom, you will win. That is the truth. That is the truth. Good job, guys. For those of you, some people take distance learning for granted, but as long as it's keeping us safe. Okay, good. Guys, those of you who shared, thank you. These are all fantastic and right on target. Good, good stuff. All right. That concludes today's lesson for
a screen that I'm going to share with you. Okay, we're going to talk about a new strategy called shrinking a text. Shrinking a text, so that when I use that phrase, shrinking a text, you'll know what I mean and the strategy that we'll be using, okay? So reading and summarizing. When we read, listen, we constantly, over and over and over again, summarize the information in order that we can understand it. To effectively summarize, a reader must delete, you know what that word means, delete some information, substitute some information, and then you're going to choose to keep some information. Those are 3 verbs there in this strategy that we do when we're reading a text. Now, whenever we have a text, it is usually something very bulky. It's a lot of information, and it's like we're taking it and we're pouring it into a funnel when we're summarizing it. And by deleting, we're going to take some of that information out. When we substitute, we're going to put our own twist on it. We're going to use our own words. And when we keep, we're going to lift that right out of the text, just like it is, We may change it a little bit in language, but we're going to use a lot of the same language, okay? So when we do all three of these things, we can come up with a summary for a large text, and we have a summary which is a brief text. So first we're going to read, okay? Remember, there is no summarizing without reading. We have to read. We have to read it carefully. We have to read it maybe more than once, okay? We're going to read. So this article, written by Josh Bean a couple years ago, says, should girls be allowed to play high school football? And this is what it says. Follow along with me. Should girls be allowed to play high school football? At least 3 schools in Alabama, Morgan Academy in Selma, St. Clair County in Odenville, and Lehigh in Huntsville, have girls handling place kicks and extra points this season. Morgan Academy's Lauren Rutherford made her first career field goal in a game against Wilcox Academy last week. And she's handled the team's kicking duties for the last 2 seasons. In 1939 and 1940, Laverne Toad Wise Albert kicked for Escambia County High in Atmore. She is believed to be the first girl to play high school football in the United States. But AL.com readers this summer appeared torn on the issue of whether girls should be allowed to play tackle football. More than 2,000 votes were cast in the poll asking, should girls be allowed to play tackle football? And 44.31% voted no, and 44.05% voted yes with no restrictions. Does the recent success of Rutherford, Coulson, and Harrell and their acceptance by their male teammates make a difference? In all 3 Alabama cases this season, the girls clearly fill a void because the teams lacked a consistent kicker. Does that matter? And is high school football different than other age groups when it comes to allowing girls to play? Or is there a reason to prevent this gender-bending activity? Okay? Now, there's a lot of stuff in those 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs. And we don't need all the stuff, all the text, all the information in our summary. We need to get to the main point, the most important point. And so to do that, the first thing we're going to do is delete. Now, you know what delete means because we have it on our keyboard. Delete means to undo or to take out text. So I'm going to look through this and I'm going to delete or cross off text that I feel we do not need. So, should girls be allowed to play high school football? Do I need that? Well, maybe. That's the very, very first sentence. That's the topic sentence, and it's formed in a question. Everything we're going to be responding to in our answer, our summary, is going to be to that question. Okay, so for now, I'm going to let it stay. At least 3 schools in Alabama, Morgan Academy in Selma, St. Clair County in Odenville, and Lehigh in Huntsville have girls handling place kicks and extra points this season. Huh. Now, do you see this part right here that I'm going to highlight for you? Does it really matter if we know where those high schools are located? What communities they're in? Not really. And so what I can do is I can delete them, or another way I can do it, if I can remember exactly, is I can it is. Strike through. Okay? So now I have this. Should girls be allowed to play high school football? At least 3 schools in Alabama have girls handling place kicks and extra points this season. Okay? So that's kind of telling us that girls are playing football. Not a lot, but at least some girls are playing football. And so maybe we want to keep that. But I'm looking here again now at this. At least 3 schools in Alabama. Maybe. Does it matter if it's 3? Maybe. You might even take that out. Morgan's Academy Lauren Rutherford made her first career field goal in a game against Wilcox Academy last week, and she's handled the team's kicking duties for the last 2 seasons. Well, maybe I'll take that out because that's a detail. And a detail helps support the main idea, but it is not the main idea. The main idea is, should girls or should girls not be allowed to play high school football? So, again, come up here, and I'm going to do strike through. Okay? So now, we go down to the second. So now we go to the second paragraph. In 1939 and 1940, Laverne Toad Wise Albert kicked for Escambia County High at Atmore. She is believed to be the first girl to play high school football in the United States. But AL.com readers this summer appeared torn on the issue of whether girls should be allowed to play tackle football. More than 2,000 votes were cast in a poll asking, should girls be allowed to play tackle football, and 44.31 voted no, and 44.05% voted yes, with no restrictions. Well, I have a lot of detail in there, don't I? But it's giving us some information that might be important, even in a summary. So here we go again. 1939, 1940, we're talking about Laverne Toad Wise Albert. Love that name. And that's a long, long time ago. And she kicked as a woman, as a young lady, she kicked for Escambia County High. So it's not like it hasn't happened before. She is believed to be the first high school football player in the United States. Well, I don't really think I need to know where she kicked. So I'm going to take that out. And maybe take that out. And now I have this. In 1939, 1940, Laverne Toad Wise Albert is believed to be the first girl to play high school. I'm going to take this out too. Maybe, but looking through any of this, at one point you could even say, I want to take all of it out. Does the recent success of Rutherford, Coulson, and Harrell and their acceptance by their male teammates make a difference? In all 3 Alabama cases this season, the girls could clearly fill a void because teams lack a consistent kicker. Does that matter? And is the high school football different than any other age group when it comes to allowing girls to play? Or is there a reason to prevent this gender-bending activity? So listen, I want to ask you something. In reading through this little article, does it ever answer the question at the top? Should girls be allowed to play high school football? No, it really doesn't. And so, you know, maybe the details isn't really what it's about, but it's provoking us. It's asking a question. Okay? So, come on. The girls clearly fill a void because the team lacked a consistent kicker. Does that matter? I'm going to keep that because I think it adds and gets at the heart of what we're asking. But everything else, I'm going to delete. Okay? Now, let's go back and just read what we have. Should girls be allowed to play high school football? At least 3 schools in Alabama have girls handling place kicks and extra points this season. Okay? Then we come all the way down here. The girls clearly fill a void because the teams lacked a consistent kicker. Does that matter? If I take what I have just right there, which I have emboldened, that's not crossed out, struck through, I have a summary. Let's see what it would look like. Now, just by deleting, getting rid of all the text that we do not need, we end up with this. Should girls be allowed to play high school football? At least 3 schools in Alabama have girls handling place kicks and extra points this season. The girls clearly fill a void because the teams lacked a consistent kicker. Does that matter? See, we're getting at the very heart of what this article is about. It acknowledges that there are girls who play football and that they're needed for their team. But the question is bigger than that example, okay? Now, once we delete, what's the next part that we do? Well, we can substitute, okay? We can take something that is said there and we can use our own words. We want to put it in our own way of expressing. So, and then I'm going to decide to keep. So it's either change it to our own words or keeping it. Should girls be allowed to play high school football? At least 3 schools in Alabama have girls handling place kick and extra points this season. Okay? What can I change? What can I make my own? Well, I might want to take the very, very question at the beginning. So there is a question being asked in sports that is becoming important. Should female students be allowed to compete in the sport of football? At least 3 schools in Alabama have girls handling place kicks and extra points this season. I might say this. 3 schools. See, I just did some more deleting, didn't I? 3 schools have girls handling place kicks and extra points this season. The girls clearly feel a need. Oh, see? Because the teams a consistent kicker. Still, does that matter? Okay. So I kept some and I substituted and I made it my own. There is a question being asked in sports that is becoming important. Should female students be allowed to compete in the sport of football? 3 schools have girls handling place kicks and extra points this season. The girls clearly feel a need because the teams did not possess a consistent kicker. Still, does that matter?